What you're seeing right now is a brand new AI model that is from Moonshot AI. It's called Kimi K2.5.
Kimi K2.5.
Kimi K2.5. Kimi K2.5 is here.
So what is Kimi K2.5? Well, it's an open source, open weights model that is one of the best in its category for things like programming and web design that I've seen so far. And if you're a developer like me using Cursor, you might not realize you're already using the Kimi model because the Composer 2 model under the hood is actually running Kimi K2.5. When it comes to actual benchmarks, it's on par with things like Google Gemini, Anthropic's Claude, and even OpenAI's Codex models. Here's the blog from Moonshot AI, where they talk about just how closely matched they are when it comes to things like coding, agents, images, and video. This is design area. And here we can see that they did a benchmark across all models, and Kimi K2.5 actually tied in first place with Gemini 3 Pro. Let's see how it performs when it comes to real-world web design and what makes it so unique. For this, I'll give it reference images and videos and see if it can create an entire website. I also want to remix multiple images and create a unique looking web design. I want to see if it can turn a static image into an animated one and try out visual editing where I mark some changes to be made and see if it can make those. I want to try out agent swarms. It's something particular to Kimi where you can activate up to 100 sub-agents in parallel to complete 1,000 steps at the same time to complete a huge task. It also has Open Claw, well, its own alternative called Kimi Claw, which I want to test and set up with some automation and see how that goes. And finally, I want to test out Kimi Code, which is a CLI kind of like Claude Code, but its own version. So definitely interested to see how that goes. Here's my first test. I want to clone this website. This is a high caliber, good looking web design with lots of micro animation, scroll jacking, and more. And normally this wouldn't be able to be something that you can clone with just a few screenshots. Instead, what I'm going to do is create a video recording of this website and upload it to Kimi and ask it to recreate it. Okay, so here's my screen recording. What I'll do now is head over to Kimi.com and I'll log into the website. I've uploaded the file and put in this simple prompt, clone this website. Let's go. And the results are in. Let's click preview. And here's what it's done. It's recreated that landing page, that really cool zoom in, the fade in here for this section, as well as this plain overlay, which looks like it's been made with an SVG. Now, I could iterate over this, but this is a pretty good starting point from just a video to an entire website. For my next test, I want to convert an image to a website. I took this photo of a website I liked a while ago, and I can't remember where it's from. So what I'm going to do is just chuck this image here into Kimi, along with a small prompt, and ask it to create this again. It's going to run in the background, producing the code for this site, and here's what we have. It's using those images at the top with the main hero text here at the bottom, but this I would almost say looks better than the original. There's good use of color and micro animation. There are these sections here for a British museum that actually makes this website feel alive and interesting and something I would actually read. So I have to give it to Kimi that it is pretty good when it comes to creating these sorts of web designs. Test 3, cloning a website. So I've got this web design here that I've really liked. It's actually one that I've listed out as one of my top 10 designs of 2025, and I want to clone it. So I'm going to jump here into Kimi, paste it in, and simply ask it to clone the website so I can have my own version of it. In the background, it's gone ahead and viewed that website, made some notes, and started building it. And here it is. As you can see, it's got that same hero section with the squiggly lines that move. It has the hero text here at the bottom. And in terms of its actual color use, I would almost say these reds look better than the original. Test number 4. This time, I just want to do text to website. This is where you write in a nice massive prompt of exactly what kind of web design you want, and then you ask Kimi to create it without any reference images, without reference videos, just plain text to website design. Let's see how creative it can be at creating something like this from a text prompt. And it's come up with this design here for this website called Formula. Now, this isn't too bad for a website design. What I do like about this is that it's a lot more creative because a lot of the outputs that I get normally through things like Gemini, Claude, and Codex are very generic and they look like they're almost all the same website design. Test 5. I want to create an animation from a static image. Here is a really cool UI component that could be turned into something a little bit more interesting. Let's see if we can give this to Kimi and see what it generates. It just finished. Let's click preview, and here it is. That Looks really cool. It's got some animations. The mouse cursor is being followed with the little eyes, so they're tracking really well. And this is a UI component that I could easily copy straight into my own website now that it's designed. Now I want to do some website editing. There's lots of cool examples here of websites that Kimi has created. I'm going to select this one here and ask it to build this template. That just finished, and here is that design. Now, what I wanted to do is make some changes to it. I've got this button here called Edit, which allows me to go into edit mode. And I can select something like this button over here and ask it, add white outline to this button. You can see it's thinking here and looking at the hero.tsx file to make those revisions. And here that change is complete. So a pretty cool way to interact with web designs. Rather than actually trying to prompt everything, you can be a little bit more selective with comments. Next up, I want to see how Kimi goes in terms of actual code, because a lot of these web designs are built on top of code, but we haven't actually given it coding challenges or questions. What I'm going to be using is Kimi Code CLI. It is running in your terminal very much like Claude Code, but it's a little bit different. So let's check it out. Now to test out something unique to Kimi. They're called agent swarms. What I want to do is research the most popular web design trends that are currently trending in 2026. Normally, I would do this by looking up different blogs, pulling in articles, looking up YouTube videos, but I'm going to get Kimi to do all of that with lots and lots of sub-agents and get it to come back and give me all that research and information. So what I'm going to do is select the agent swarm option. Here, I'm going to prompt it to discover all the different types of web design trends that are currently popular this year. All right, so now it's working. It's creating different types of agents to complete this task. This is happening in parallel. I have an agent here called Parker, which is an animation specialist, one here called Brown, which is a visual design specialist, another one here called Kyan, which is a UX specialist. They're going through websites like Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, as well as other sites, and just kind of researching what are the current popular trends. As they do their work, you can see this GitHub style commit here with little green lines to showcase once the agent has finished the job that they're allocated. And once all of that's been done, we have a report that will finally come back to me, which what I can see here is currently being created by this guy called Emerson, another agent, but he's a researcher. And it looks like that's finished. Here we can see that AI integration like chatbots and personalization came in at near the top, with things like micro animation, dark theme, and bento grids as a close second, third, and fourth. There's a lot more information here about the trend itself, as well as the report. And this is really cool to see for my next video if I want to create it on the top 10 web design trends of 2026. A big thanks to Moonshot AI for sponsoring today's video. I actually saw their model being announced online and reached out to them, and they were kind enough to make this happen. I'm really impressed with what they deliver and how broad of an ecosystem they've built up so far. If you want to test them out, definitely check them out because I think it's one of those models worth using when you're doing different types of queries. I'm often never using a single model for a task. Often when I need a job done, I'll ask Gemini, Claude, and even OpenAI to complete it. And now I'm going to add Kimi to that list.